Okay guys, so we're live and what we're talking about today is how to fit some alcohol into our kind of weekly routine, if you like, or our weekly plan, and still move forward and get results, still remain in good shape, still be able to perform in the gym. But at the same time, you've got that kind of happy medium where you're enjoying a few beers or a few glasses of wine, a few G&Ts, spirits, whatever you enjoy drinking. Okay, and we started off yesterday by saying that there is a way to do this, all right, but we don't want to be a complete douchebag and kind of take it to extremes and either feel like we can be an absolute pisshead and still get great results, which we can't, or we don't want to be validating people kind of coming from a point of view of saying, well, oh, it's all right, Russ has done a blog post here on having a few beers, that's all right for me to get pissed all weekend. We don't want to validate that type of behaviour. We need to be sensible about this. This is about finding a balance and approach. So we've got a few of you jumping on. Carl, how are you, big fella? All right, and just while you guys are jumping on, I'm going to do what I've been doing these live videos, and I'm going to go ahead and share it from this fan page onto my personal profile. So we're just going to give you 10 or 15 seconds, guys. Facebook's building a bit of an audience nicely there, and then I'm going to get into the actual meat on this topic. It's a good topic, this as well, guys, because you know we all want that balance. Right, let's share this. You know, it's a great topic because we all want to find that balance. We all want that balance. I don't believe that there's people out there that just want to be like super strict with the food intake, super strict with the you know, not having any alcohol and things that they enjoy like that and just training like an absolute beast. I don't believe that there's people that make that choice in itself. They make that choice because they believe that that's going to give them the results that they want. They believe that's what they need to do to get the results that they want. And I'm here to smash that story into the face today, guys, because it's just not the case. It's just simply not the case. So we want to talk about, specifically on this video, how we can manipulate our training, okay, our physical exercise, because that's one of the three pillars that we talk about. We talk about mindset, we talk about nutrition, and we talk about physical training. All right, Big Rob, how are you, man? And we want to talk about, like, specifically how we can manipulate the training element, all right, to accommodate having a few beers or a few glasses of wine or whatever whatever you like to have a drink. So this is important because I feel that two reasons. Number one, I feel that deep down, guys, like I've just said at the start of the video, if you've only just jumped on, that I think deep down we all want that balance. Like, we all want to be in the shape that we want to be in, like, to look at us. We all want to be physically badass in the gym. Alright, so most of the people that follow this, they want to be able to perform in the gym, they want to have some muscle mass, they want to look good in a t-shirt when they take the t-shirt off, taking the kids swimming, they want to look good, alright, you want to be healthy and you want to be happy. And being happy probably doesn't mean like cutting out everything that you enjoy. And I think my second point is that I think this is a big story that we tell ourselves, that we're either like super clean and we can't have any shit at all in our diet, we can't have any alcohol, and we're training like absolute savages, and that's the only way to get results. And I think when people realise that you can enjoy yourself outside of the gym with the type of food that you're having and having a few beers, and still be in the shape you want to be in, and still be making progress every single week. What we cannot do though, guys, and this, I've said this at the start of the video and I'm going to say it again, we can't take that message to extreme. Okay, it isn't possible to abuse alcohol and be in really good shape and be healthy. We're talking here about having a couple of drinks. We're not talking about 3-4 plus evenings a week, like getting pissed. So you might be asking, how can we do this when it specifically comes to training? And just before we get on to that, I'm going to refer you back to the blog post that's in the link above this video. So we've said that we've given you a bit of an introduction how to enjoy alcohol and stay in shape, picture of Arnie. And yesterday we talked about being relevant. So we talked about, well, what is your goal set? What do you want to achieve? And what, not the person next to you, what do you want? So we talked about that, and there's a bit of a video there. Okay, and then today we're talking about the exercise component. So we're talking specifically about how we can manipulate exercise to accommodate a few beers. And there's two ways you can do this, guys, alright? Number one is you can train a bit harder. You can stop being a pussy, alright, and you can up your training intensity. And you can do that in a number of ways, okay? So let's just say we can train 10 to 20% harder. We could do this by doing things like not stopping when we get into our comfort zone. So we're doing a set on the bench press, all right? We've all got a weight. We know in our head we can bench press for maybe 8 reps, all right? We maybe go in the gym, think we're going to do a bit of bench press, all right? And we do 8 reps, and then we stop, all right? And we stop at that comfort zone. We stop at that number of repetitions. All right. So the easiest way to train a bit harder and stop being a pussy is to say, well, I'm not going to stop at 8. I'm going to do more. All right. I'm going to do 9 reps, 10 reps, 11 reps, 12 reps. All right. The other way to do it is to just up the weight that you're lifting. All right. So depending on how your programming's set up, sometimes if you train at RM Fitness, it says on the whiteboard that we want you guys to do 4 sets of 8. All right, so we don't want you taking the low into your own hands and doing sets of 15 just because you want to train a bit harder. All right, what you then need to do is maybe up the weight that you can lift for 8 reps. So that constant kind of voice in your head that says like, right, I'm just going to train a bit harder. All right, and if you multiply that over multiple training sessions in a week, that's going to add up, and that's going to compensate you maybe having a few beers at the weekend. And like we said, we're not going daft. I feel like I need to keep hitting that point home, guys, that we're not going absolutely crazy and getting, absolutely wrecked every single weekend. The other way to do it is obviously inside of your conditioning. So RM Fitness, what we like to do is like what we call finishers. So we'll spend maybe 40 minutes on weight training, and then we'll spend maybe 10, 12 minutes at the end doing a finisher. So you could go a bit harder. Maybe you're doing some hill sprints. Maybe you're on the Concept 2 rower and you're banging out like minute working, minute resting. Maybe you could get 300 metres in a minute instead of getting like 270 metres in a minute, all right? So it's just what we're saying here, this conversation about how to do it that's split into 2. The first bit is to stop being a pussy and train a little bit harder, all right? I'm going to tell you about the second bit in a minute. I just want to do a few shout-outs for guys that are on here. So we said good morning to Carl and Rob, all right? Lance jumping on, you're going well, all right? Good morning, Rob. Hannah Whittle, you're absolutely smashing it. Finton, Mark Harrison, Big Vinny on the squats last night. He got out of his comfort zone because I made him. Philippa, good morning. All right, so we've got a mixture of you guys from Wigan and Manchester on. So the second part of this conversation into how to manipulate your training so that you can make room for a few treats or some beers at the weekend is what about if we got that extra session in? So what about if we said, right, normally I train 3 times a week, all right? I'm going to have a few beers this weekend. Got some mates coming up I've not seen for a bit. I'm going to have a few beers. Then how about I get that 4th session in, all right? Or maybe at the minute you're not doing any training, okay? And maybe you say, well, I'm going to go and train twice a week, all right? It's about creating this flexibility, guys. It's about creating this kind of like extra bit of leeway so that you're putting the work in and you can take some out. I refer back to the bank balance conversation with this, guys. If you're making deposits into a savings account, when you need to make a withdrawal, all right, there's funds available for you to make that withdrawal. Lee Cross, how you doing, mate? And Ollie Wayne. So if you're making regular deposits into this savings account, when you want to make a withdrawal, there's funds there to make that withdrawal. All right, let's put this into a fitness context, all right? And this relates massively to alcohol. If you're making deposits into the bank account of fitness, i.e. you're training 3 or 4 days a week, you're training hard, you're eating properly 80-90% of the time, you're drinking enough of this stuff, guys, then what happens when you want to make a withdrawal from that, i.e. you want to have a few beers at a weekend, you've got that level of flexibility there because you've earned the right to do that. All right, and that's not going to impact you the same as someone that's not doing anything and they're not making those deposits. So, yeah, the second way we can have this conversation about how we can create more flexibility to enjoy some beers is we can get that extra training session in. All right, so that might be someone that's going from doing 0 at the minute to maybe getting 2 sessions in a week. Maybe even just 1 session, guys. Maybe someone that's doing 0 at the minute going for a walk every day or 3 or 4 days a week. If it's someone that's like your average gym goer that's like, I'm averaging 2 to 3 a week, then maybe that person can say, well, do you know what? I'm going to get an extra 1 session in and I'm going to average 3 to 4 a week. If it's somebody who's at the other end of the scale, and this is where we need to be a bit careful, I'm going to warn you about this person in a minute, what we might need to say is, well, instead of doing like 4 to 5, I'm going to do 5 to 6. Of course, guys, you can't take this message to the extreme as well. If you're like an absolute battle-hardened, hardcore gym trainer that's going to the gym 6 days a week, you train like a fucking savage, then there's only so much margin that you can increase that to. Do you know what I mean? That probably doesn't apply to too many people. okay? But for there is going to be some people watching this that they're already, you know, verging on kind of overtraining a little bit, and certainly what we don't want to put across in this video is like encouraging that person to get an extra training session in or an extra half-hour fitness training in just so they can have a few beers at the weekend. Alan Barlow, how are you, big man? Keep meaning to get down to your place, mate, to get some scran. Yeah, we're talking about alcohol. So that's the kind of how to fit some alcohol in when it comes to conversation of training. Number one, train a bit harder. Stop being a pussy. Take your training intensity up 20%. Do extra reps, do extra weight. Go harder on conditioning. Okay, conversation number two inside of that is get an extra training session in. This might be that you have a few beers at the weekend on a Saturday night, and on a Sunday you go for a walk for an hour. You'd be surprised how many calories you burn walking for an hour, guys. So what I want you to do, first up, you've got two assignments. Number one, I want you to have a think about directly how this affects you. Alright, so think about how this affects you. Are you not doing any training at the minute, but you're having a few beers and you're expecting to be in shape? If so, let's get a couple of training sessions in this week. Alright, are you training 3 to 4 times a week? Okay, if so, let's get maybe an extra session in. Are you kind of well within your comfort zone? Alright, if so, let's look at how we can up our training intensity 20%. Let's have a look at this, guys. Let's consider it. Point number two, I want you to go to the link in the blog, alright? And sorry, the link above this post, and I want you to have a read of this. How to enjoy alcohol and stay in shape, guys. I've give you the direct link into this. RM Fitness, enjoy alcohol, stay in shape, alright? And there's 5 points within this blog post. I think it's decent, guys. Like, you can tell I'm fired up about this. I'm passionate about this because I've never been somebody that's prepared to give up absolutely everything I enjoy, like having a few beers or eating a bit of junk food just to have a frigging six-pack. That's just not me. It's not, it doesn't interest me, if I'm being honest. It doesn't interest me. That's not to say that I don't agree with other people doing it. That's cool if they want to do that. And I said this yesterday. If you're the sort of person that wants to give absolutely everything up in order to get a six-pack, I'd have you consider that's all right. But what are you going to keep giving all them things up to maintain your six-pack? Because as soon as you put things back in, you'll go back to normal. All right? And I think, Lee Cross, you're a top example, mate. You know, when you got them epic results, you'd be the first to admit you weren't giving up absolutely every drop of alcohol. You weren't, you know what I mean? You found a way, like you had a few, on that 12-week programme, you had a few piss-ups planned in, you had a bit of shit food. You found that balance as you were doing it, and I think that's the key message, guys, from me. Lorraine Smith jumping on from Caveman Stoke. Good to have you on board. All right, guys, speak to you soon.